from Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. We welcome David Aldridge, who's going to be on the call tonight with Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, Chris Webber, and Rachel Nichols. And DA, let's talk about Kyle Korver. You just made an announcement on Twitter, I don't know, some 45 minutes to an hour ago. What is the latest on Kyle Korver's injured ankle?
Well, he's going to have surgery tomorrow. Unfortunately, that very severe high ankle sprain he suffered in Game 2 is going to lead to this. And it's unfortunate because, you know, this is a guy that has really been one of the true stars on this team this year. I think one of, if not the most important player, one of the top two. They got so much energy from him when he would make three-pointers. He was shooting, as we all know, above 45%, up 49% on threes during the regular season, and really was a catalyst for this team, and had been was an all-star. And it's a tough loss for them. They're trying to recover from it the best they can. It's going to be very difficult going forward without him, but you know, they feel like they got somewhere in Game 3. They made some progress in Game 3. The problem is now they got to do it for 48 minutes, and they got to do it on the road in a closeout game, and that's pretty tough.
DA, it's pretty amazing when you consider 6 All-Stars in this series. Kyrie, LeBron, the 4 All-Stars for the Hawks, former All-Star, and Kevin Love, of course. And the guy who really, I don't know if he's dominated the headlines, but he's right there neck and neck with LeBron James is Matthew Dellavedova. What are the Hawks saying about Delly after the last couple of games and the thing with Korver and the thing with Horford?
Well, look, I don't think their tone has changed any. They went to great pains, even after Game 3 in the heat of the moment, to say that they did not think Matthew Dellavedova was a dirty player. But what they do think is that Matthew Dellavedova has to be more cognizant of where he is on the floor when he starts diving for loose balls. Nobody's knocking his hustle. Nobody's saying he doesn't have a right to go get the ball. But when you start diving and you collide with people's ankles and knees, you guys know this as former players, you know, Smitty and Isaiah, there's just certain things you don't do on the floor on a basketball court. And one of them is, no matter the reasoning, you don't wind up on somebody's knee or at somebody's ankle, because things like this can happen. Things like what happened to Kyle Korver can happen. And so, you know, as one member of the Hawks organization told me the other day, look, we want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but this keeps happening over and over again, and if it keeps happening, it's on you. So that's the issue that they have with Dellavedova. They don't have any problem with him being, you know, a spark plug, an energy guy, but you got to be aware of what you're doing. You can't just throw your body into the nearest pile to come up with a loose ball.
And DA, somewhere Taj Gibson is nodding his head and saying, "Sing it, DA, sing it." Now, DA, you know, a little reality here in the midst of a basketball show. Give us a sense for the atmosphere outside the Q right now, given the rioting that's been happening in Cleveland.
Well, let's take some very let's be very careful with the wording here, Rick. There hasn't been any rioting here. There's been protests, and they've been peaceful, and there have been some arrests, but there's been no rioting. There's been no looting. There's been none of that here in Cleveland. There's been today the Department of Justice announced an agreement with the Cleveland Police Department to put some new protocols in place, both with regard to review of police conduct in certain cases and police procedure with civilians. So they're trying to keep this moving forward as best they can. There have been protests every day since Saturday, when the judge acquitted the Cleveland police officer in the deaths of two civilians that were shot several times by Cleveland police. And there have been protests. I saw one of them myself Saturday afternoon. But again, there was no looting. There was no you know, skirmishes with police or anything like that. There were people that the people that got out of hand in terms of their behavior were arrested, but most of them were misdemeanors. Now, as far as tonight, you know, there's been talk that there may be some people coming in to protest, maybe as the game is ending, just as protesters went to Progressive Field the other night as the Indians game was ending. And again, there was no conflict with people leaving. There was just a lot of traffic. So a lot of traffic problems. So there may be some of that tonight, but we don't know that for sure.
DA, so Kyrie Irving has missed the last 2. He's a game-time decision tonight. Charles Barkley told us the other night they'd be crazy to bring him back before the NBA Finals. Are you getting a sense that he's going to play tonight? And in your opinion, why would they bring Kyrie back up 3-zip?
Well, look, he's been working out very hard the last couple of days in practice. The question is, does he recover from that without swelling and without the tendonitis acting up? And so it's a game time decision. There's been some reports that it's looking more like he would play than he wouldn't play tonight. We'll see. The reason why is because they want to finish the series. You know, I think they know that Game 3 was very close and that Atlanta could have very easily won that game. And I think they want this to be over as soon as possible so they can get as much rest for Kyrie Irving and LeBron James before the finals as they can. We know now that the finals are going to start on June 4th. That's locked in. And so if the Cavaliers win tonight, they will get more than a week off before the start of the finals. And they need every day of rest that they can get for Kyrie Irving as possible. So I think the Cavaliers' motivation is let's end this before we have to go back to Atlanta for Game 5 and be on the road. And Atlanta is a team that won 60 games for a reason. They didn't do that. Wasn't a fluke. You know, it's a good team. So they want to make sure that they get this done as soon as possible.
DA, fantastic stuff. We'll be watching tonight. Enjoy the game, and we will talk to you down the line.
All right, Rick, thanks.